So what's up guys, Mars here. This time I'm bringing you a bit of a guide for 5.4 Frost Death Knights. Hope you guys enjoy. In this part of the video guys, we're going to be going over talents and what I think is important for Frost Death Knights. On the top tier talent, I took Unholy Blight. Just for the reason that sometimes it's easier for me just to pop this and get my diseases back on. Then on the second tier talent, I took Lichborn. And for me, I think Lichborn is overall the best talent in the second tier talent tree, because AMZ is situational, and to me it's not very good anymore since it goes down after like a second and a half the caster's on you. And Purgatory, I don't use Purgatory at all. And third tier talent, I always take Asphyxiate unless I'm running with someone that has a stun, like a Holy Paladin in 2s, or even in 3s if I'm running with a warrior that's running with control spec. And on the fourth tier talent, I took Death Pact, just because where I'm Frost, conversion, it wastes my runic power, so it's less Frost Strike, so less damage. And Death Pact, to me, I think this patch is a little bit better than conversion. I think it pulls ahead just a little bit. And on the fifth tier talent, I took Runic Empowerment. Now, the reason why I took this is, it's one less thing for me to micromanage, but you can take Blood Tap and be really successful with it, and I'll go over some macros later on and show you guys what you can do with it. Now, on the last tier talent, I took Desecrated Ground, and it's just an extra trinket, comes in really handy. Remorseless Winter can be good at times, like if you're fighting double melee. Sometimes it's really good if you're fighting TSG, Warrior Death Knight Healer. You can get both of the DPS in it, and get CC on the healer and then kill one of them in it. It's really handy sometimes. Very situational. I would always take Desecrated Ground. On to glyphs. The first glyph I use is Glyph of Anti-Magic Shell. I like this glyph just because when I switch to Blood Presence, it's going to absorb over 200 something K incoming spell damage. Now sometimes that isn't a lot if you're fighting like Ellie Shamans or Destro Warlocks or things like that, but I want to try Glyph of Regenerative Magic, but it hasn't been on the auction house yet. So when I get that, I'll put an extra link in this video and show you guys what I think about that. But the next glyph I use is Glyph of Shifting Presences. This glyph I think is probably one of the best glyphs you can have, just for the simple reason that you're going to be shifting presences a lot as a DK. When people focus you, you want to switch to Blood Presence. When they're not focusing you, you want to switch to either Frost or Unholy, depending on your spec. And then the next glyph I use that I think is probably one of the best glyphs in the game is Glyph of Icy Touch. You can dispel other players' buffs with it. So say a Paladin bops a Mage or a Hunter or something, you can dispel bop off of them and keep bursting the hell out of them. I also use Glyph of Strangulate when I run with warriors if they're control spec, just for the simple reason that that whole lockout sometimes can get you a kill on people. I also use Glyph of Outbreak situationally, depending on what team we're fighting. If I know I'm going to be rooted a lot and can't get to someone, and I have a chance to refresh my diseases, sometimes I'll take this glyph just to make sure my diseases stay on the targets. And now on to macros. Here's my one-shot macro, my Pillar of Frost macro. It has Pillar of Frost, my Racial, and my on-use trinket. But I only pop this when I see I have Rune of the Fallen Crusader and I have my proc trinket up. That way I get the maximum burst potential that I can possibly get. Now on to my Focus Strangulate. This is really good when you have a focus target, like say a healer or a DPS, and you want to peel, or you need to stun the healer to stop a heal. This is what I use. Then on to my Lichborn heal. Now you can use this to heal yourself if you're low and you don't have Death Pact up. You can also use Lichborn to get out of fears. I really wouldn't use Lichborn to get out of fear unless you absolutely need to and are going to get a kill. I'd save this as a heal. I also have a Dark Sim Focus macro, Dark Simulation. Now I use this macro for, like, say a priest I see a priest coming to run in fear, I'll Dark Sim the priest, and pick up fear from him, and then I'll fear his teammates. Or if I see a paladin running over to Hodge, or I see him getting ready to cast Blinding Light, or Cyclone, anything along those lines, I'll pick that up. Now, I mentioned how you could do Blood Tap earlier. Now, this is, if I use Blood Tap, this is the macro I use for that. It has Frost Strike and Blood Tap. That way I only have to hit one button to Blood Tap and Frost Strike at the same time. This is my Death Pact macro. It's really simple, just Raise Dead / cast Death Pact. Very simple macro. This is my Focus Death Grip macro, if I need to grip someone off my partner, or grip a heal, anything like that. These are my Ghoul macros when I play Unholy. I'll go ahead and show you guys this in case you play Unholy and you don't know about these. This is my Gnaw macro, and this is my Leap macro. I would suggest only using Leap when you have your pet in Hulk mode. I also have, for Unholy, Necro Strike and Blood Tap put together, and this is my Unholy one-shot. It summons my Gargoyle, uses Unholy Frenzy, Blood Flurry, and my Tyrannical Gladiator's Badge of Victory. On to gems and enchants. I put all strength gems in my gear. Every socket. From head, shoulders, chest, gloves, belt, pants, and boots. I gem complete strength. And I pretty much enchant as full strength if I can too. 200 strength, 100 crit on my shoulders. I put stamina on my cloak because I don't need the hit rating or the crit. I put 80 stats on my chest, not 200 resilience. I have 180 strength on my bracers. I have 170 strength on my gloves, 285 strength, 165 crit, and 140 mastery and minor speed on my boots. Now, as a bit of a disclaimer, I don't reforge the right way you should as a Frost DK, but this is the way I do it, and I will tell you guys the right way you should reforge. The reason I reforge is complete mastery is because I like just the pure damage you get from it, but the right way you should reforge is mastery, haste, and crit. I just reforge complete mastery, and don't worry about the other two. I also don't run with a PvP trinket since I'm a Death Knight. I run with double DPS trinkets. For the reason that we have Icebound Fortitude, Desecrated Ground, and Lichport. We have 3 trinkets, and I just don't think I need one.